I first made a video saying that Ghost of Recon Wildlands had aged terribly. I criticized the gameplay, the open world, the repetitive missions, and several systems that felt outdated. I was quite harsh towards the game, and looking back, I probably judged the complete experience too quickly. However, many of these criticisms were still genuine. Then something unexpected happens. Instead of dropping Wildlands and moving on, I continued playing it. I spent more time with the game, I started understanding what people enjoyed about it, and eventually made a follow-up video admitting that I think I have judged it too soon. And then I went even further and earned a platinum trophy for the game. After that, I played Ghost Recon Breakpoint, mainly using its realism-focused ghost experience settings, and I earned the platinum trophy on that game as well. So when I compare Wildlands and Breakpoint, I'm not speaking after, playing each game for a few hours. I completed both of the games. I explored their systems and earned both of the platinum trophies. Whether people agree with my opinion or not, there is some real experience behind my words. Starting with Wildlands, my biggest issue was that it always would... Look, it's aiming in terms of when you're using your weaponry. I played the game on a controller, and aiming never felt comfortable to me. It often felt stiff, heavy, and difficult to control precisely. Trying to make small adjustments while aiming could be frustrating, especially during a long-range fights or when I needed to react quickly. And because this is a tactical shooter, aiming affects almost everything. You can spend several minutes scouting an area, marking enemies, and preparing the perfect approach. But if the aiming does not feel right when you're finally, when it's time to take the shot, the entire experience becomes less enjoyable. The problem heavily damaged my first impressions of Wildlands. And perhaps playing with a controller was one of the main reasons the game initially left such a negative taste for me. Someone playing with a mouse and keyboard may have had a completely different experience, but on a controller, I often felt like I was fighting against the aiming instead of simply fighting the enemies. The controller aiming was not my only problem. The mission structure could become repetitive, many objectives followed similar patterns, and after I'm not too sure enough hours of playing through the game, certain activities started to feel more like a chore than an exciting operations. The open world also felt stretched out at times. Bolivia is enormous, but traveling across it could become tiring, especially when activities waiting at the destination were similar to something that I had already completed several times before. The enemy AI also felt outdated and inconsistent. Sometimes enemies barely reacted to what was happening around them. Other times they appeared to detect me from impossible positions. In one moment I could quietly remove half of the base without anyone noticing. The next moment one enemy seemed to gain supernatural vision and alert everyone in Bolivia. Those issues are real, and earning the platinum trophy did not make them disappear. What changed was that I stopped allowing those problems to define the entire game. The longer I played Wildlands, the more I started to appreciate the freedom it gave me. Even when the missions were repetitive, I could approach them in different ways. I could scout with a drone, mark enemies, prepare sync shots, and decide whether I wanted to enter, and whichever direction I wanted to go through. I could attack during the day, wait until night, or try to complete the objective without starting a massive firefight. And sometimes the most entertaining moments happened when a plan completely failed. You could spend several minutes preparing the perfect tactical operation, miss one shot and suddenly turn the entire area into a complete chaos. Wildlands became more enjoyable when I stopped expecting every mission to feel completely different and started enjoying the freedom inside of those missions. That was the real reason my opinion has changed. I did not suddenly decide that all my criticisms were wrong. I simply realized that I had focused too heavily on the negatives without giving a game enough time to show me its strengths. The fact that I continued playing and eventually earned a platinum trophy proves that the game gave me something valuable, even with all the issues that I've still had. That is why I made the follow-up video. I was not saying that Wildlands had become perfect, I was just saying that I had judged it too quickly. And then we have to get into the Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Okay, so Whenever I say that Breakpoint is better than Wildlands, there's one very important detail that needs to be included. I mainly play Breakpoint using its realism-focused Ghost experience settings. I'm not talking about the original launch version with the gear scores, colored loot, and systems that made the game feel more like a looter-shooter than Ghost Recon. By removing gear scores and adjusting the Ghost experience settings, Breakpoint becomes a much more grounded and enjoyable tactical game. That is the version that I have played, and that is the version I am comparing with the Wildlands. For me, Breakpoint felt far more polished. Most importantly, I never had the same aiming problems on a controller. The aiming felt fluid, responsive and natural. Making small adjustments just was so easy. Precise shots felt more reliable, and I was able to focus on the operation instead of constantly thinking about the controls. That difference was massive. In Wildlands, the aiming could sometimes make a simple encounter frustrating. In Breakpoint, the controller usually felt like it was doing exactly what I wanted. The movement was also smoother, the gunplay felt better, and stealth was more comfortable. Breakpoint's realism settings also gave me much more control over the experience. I could remove unnecessary interface elements, increase injuries, limit certain resources, and create more serious tactical experience. That is why I still believe Breakpoint is a better game. I later earned the Platinum Trophy in Breakpoint as well, which gave me a proper opportunity to compare both games after fully committing to them. And my conclusion was not that Wildlands was bad, my conclusion was that Breakpoint, when played with its realism-focused Ghost experience settings, was more polished, more fluid on a controller, and more enjoyable mechanically. Wildlands eventually earned my respect, but Breakpoint remained my preference. And that is what makes the reported Ghost Recon Wildlands Definitive Edition so interesting to me. So the Definitive Edition is expected to be bringing Wildlands to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S with 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, and a new mission. The official Ghost Recon account has also confirmed that more information will be revealed on August 6, 2026 during the franchise's 25th anniversary celebration. Store listings also pointed towards the base game, the Season Pass, the Year 2 Pass, Quick Start, Deluxe, Nightfall Protocol, and a Cold Eye. Tom Henderson has also reported on the upgraded console version and the new content. A stable 60 frames per second could make Wildlands feel much smoother on a controller. However, higher frame rate alone will not completely fix my biggest issues if the underlying aiming system remains the same. That is why I hope Ubisoft also improves the controller dead zones, sensitivity, aiming acceleration, and general responsiveness. For me, these changes will be more important than simply increasing the resolution and performance. If Ubisoft improves the aiming and general controller experience, this Definitive Edition could genuinely change my opinion on Wildlands even more. Better loading times, my god, I have to mention better loading times because that is important. And we could expect as well like draw distances, improvements there. The performances, of course, would also be a big help here, while a new mission could give people a proper reason to return. There's still many unanswered questions. Will the upgrade be free for the existing owners? Will there be cheaper upgrade options? Will Ubisoft add proper quality of life improvements? Could crossplay be included? And will this Nightfall Protocol and Cold Eye be meaningful additions or mainly cosmetic content? Those answers will be deciding whether it's a genuine improvement or simply the same game in a more expansive package. For me, this announcement adds another chapter to a very strange journey. I started by saying Wildlands had aged terribly. I then made a follow-up video admitting that I had judged it too soon. I earned its Platinum Trophy, moved on to Breakpoint, earned that Platinum as well, and compared both of the games after properly experiencing them both. I still stand behind many of my Wildlands criticisms. I still believe Breakpoint, with its realism-focused Ghost experience settings, is the better and more polished game, but I can also admit that I was too harsh towards Wildlands at the very beginning. And if this definitive edition finally improves the controller aiming and that soared my first experience, perhaps Wildlands could change my opinion one more time. Tell me down in the comments as well, are you looking forward to this definitive edition for Wildlands? Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys all and have a wonderful day.